What's up, everyone? Welcome to Couples Coverage, episode 24. I'm your host, Nicholas Moriano, always joined by my beautiful and amazing co-host, Stephanie Bonse. What's up, babe?
What's up? Welcome back, everyone. We're still here again. We keep leaving.
This one wasn't as long of a drought as the last one, but I was, again, away for work for an entire week, and that's the last of it, though, kind of for the extended period of times where I'll be gone. So hopefully now the consistency will start, but
we should have made all the consistency goals out loud after this because I feel like we've been saying it for a while, but it has nothing to do with us not wanting to do this. It's just because you've been gone. Yeah,
and it kind of just happens, and I think we were talking about let's try to do it over the weekend, and then we have plans over the weekend. Things come up, and
it's nice out now. Now we just want to be out all day.
So, and that past weekend, I think too, before I left, it was nice out, so we were able to kind of hang out outdoors and put couples coverage on the back burner. But we're back here for couples coverage, episode 24, and I think we have some pretty fun topics to discuss in this one. So we're back, we're ready, and good to go.
Good to go. Yeah, we have some story times lined up. Some recent ones, some maybe a few months old. Actually,
yours
was
a couple of years ago. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, yours is a little bit older.
Yeah, but
yeah, funny stuff. Anyways, next time there's a trip, that's gonna be us together.
Yeah,
right. We have that.
Well, actually, you're leaving for work, so that will be before. So you're this. Yeah, tell the people where you're going.
I'm going to Anaheim, California, for a work trip. It's going to be really quick, like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, I think.
It's like 2 full days, I think. But yeah, so that'll be fun. The tables will
be turned, right?
Yeah, because
you're
usually
leaving me now.
And usually we have work trips at the same time. I know we mentioned that before on a different episode where our work trips just line up, but this one, you get to be at home and you get to miss me.
Yeah, for sure. I'll be working here and you'll be out obviously working, and hopefully you want to see what's his name, Jay Shetty. He's gonna be there, and he's gonna have a keynote, like a speaking event.
It's like a speaking event, yeah. So I'm gonna try to make that. It's on the last day, so I really have to plan it, get there early, and then from there I have to go straight to the airport. So I'm hoping that it works out.
It will. It'll work out. You'll have it all planned out. You'll be ready to go, and you get to see. I've seen his advertisements with his wife when I was at the Mall of America in Minnesota. I'm like, I know that guy because of you, and he does amazing interviews too.
He does.
And he has these very distinct eyes. They're piercing eyes. And you kind of just get lost in them.
He just has a really good way of connecting with people and getting people to look within, and just, I don't know. I feel like he does a really good job of bringing out a side of people that you don't really get to see. Yeah. Especially in other interviews, he just goes really deep.
That's a good interviewer. Just watching him, I think we were watching an episode where he did the Kobe interview.
Oh yeah.
And that was, just hearing him, how he asked questions, good listener, great. Obviously he was very prepared for it, but you learn a lot. But yes. You hopefully will see him. You're going to see him when you go on your trip.
Yeah.
But let's get into what we're talking about in this podcast, babe. Yeah, you have the outline.
Yeah.
You kind of lead us on the direction of success. Where are we starting?
Okay, so I kind of wish I wish we had an episode last week because it would have been fresh, and I'm sure some people have their own experiences with this. But last week there was a big AT&T outage.
Oh,
that's where we're starting today. So, I was completely unaware that this was going on because at home we just have Wi-Fi and stuff, and so I just didn't really know that my AT&T wasn't really working.
Mm-hmm.
And I hadn't really texted anyone that day. It was earlier.
Yeah.
Anyways, so this specific day, I was going to both offices. So my work has 2 different offices, one that I go to a lot because it's closer to me, and one that's a little bit further that I don't go to very often, maybe once a month. But it's heading towards the city, so it's just a little bit further, and I don't know the way to So like I know the way to my home office without using my GPS, but to that one, I don't. Like I always depend on my GPS. So this day I had to go to both because I had to drop some stuff off. So I went to my home office, picked up the stuff that I needed, and then was going to head out to that office over there. And a little bit like after I started heading that way, I was trying to put my GPS on and I realized my phone had no service. And again, like I was completely unaware. So I just kept turning my phone on and off. And I was like, why is my phone service not working? Like, I didn't understand. I thought maybe my family used up like our like
all the
data plan, but we have unlimited data. So I was so confused. And I was starting to get like really not worried, but I was like, what's going on? Like, I really don't know why this is happening. And at this point, I knew I had missed my exit. So I'm just driving and trying to just see what happens with my phone. And I pull up to a gas station and I was trying to get their Wi-Fi and my phone wasn't connecting to it.
Helpless.
Yeah, I was literally helpless. So I get back on the road and I just think to myself, okay, I'm just going to keep driving until like I hit a McDonald's or something where the Wi-Fi is a little bit more reliable.
Why it's just, you would have stopped at any fast food restaurant.
Anything that had like Wi-Fi, like I know McDonald's, maybe a Starbucks or something.
True. Yeah.
But I literally wasn't hitting anything. So I was just going further and further and further. And I'm like, oh my gosh, to the point where I started freaking out a little bit because I couldn't call you. I couldn't call anyone. No calls were going through. Mm-hmm. So eventually I like pulled over and I called 911.
She called 911. I don't think I've ever called 911. But
okay, here's the thing. Part of it was me being freaked out that like I can't reach anyone at this point. I'm lost. I don't know where I am. I can keep driving, but like what if I'm just going like further and further out?
Yeah.
And I think just the thought of not being able to reach anyone or call for help was freaking me out a little bit. So I think that's where it stemmed from. And also curiosity, because I was like, I wonder if like 911 still goes through.
Okay, yeah.
So I called it, and of course it does go through because I didn't know that. I didn't know that if you don't have service, like 911 will still go through.
I didn't know that either until you told me this story, and I'm glad you're sharing it with everyone who's listening and watching.
Yeah, just FYI, if you ever need to call the cops, it will go through. But they answered me, and I was like, I'm so sorry, this is not an emergency. I'm lost, and I would call a non-emergency number, but like I have no service, so nothing's going through. I just don't know where I am. And he was able to locate just from my call where I was at.
It's pretty impressive too.
Like, yeah, I've always wondered how that works.
Exactly where you're at. Satellites, all those satellites up there,
Right, but I just had never thought about it because you know how sometimes you like think in your head, like, I wonder if I were to like if I was ever in like a scenario where I would need to call the cops and they always ask you where you're at. Mm-hmm. And I'm horrible with like streets and directions, you know? So I'm like, I don't know where I am. Anyways, he's like, I see where you are. You're running through my story.
No. I know the story. This is a great story. I'm just yawning.
Anyways, so he like was able to tell me where I was because I didn't even know where I was. He's like, I see you're on the street of blah, blah, blah. Where's work? And at this point, I'm just canceling out going to this further office. Like, please just tell me how to get back to my home office. That's kind of where my head was at.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm just trying to go back now to Itasca. He's like, what street is it on? I was like, I don't know. And the thing is, like, this is when I feel really frustrated with myself because, like, would you be able to tell me where your office is at? What street it's on?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes, because I've been working there for 2 years now.
Okay, don't say it, though.
I'm not going to say it, but I do know where it's at. Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, that doesn't help my case then. Because he asked me what street it was on and I couldn't tell this man where work was. I'm like, I just know like where it is, but like I don't pay attention to the streets.
Job, or?
Actually, yeah, he was getting a little bit annoyed and he was like, okay, well, how long have you been working there? I'm like,
well, 2 years.
Like 2 years. And he's like, well, I can get you to Itasca, but you're on your own from there.
He was fed up.
Yeah, and I don't blame him. Again, this was not an emergency. I just didn't really know what else to do at that point. And so this guy starts to give me like northwest, east directions. And I just like pull out a sticky note and I'm like shaking, trying to write this down.
real quickly, let me jump in here real quick with the northeast. You know, the directions. There was somebody at the gym, Bears Fit. You should check it out. He was trying to give directions to somebody, and it said it's on the west side of the building. And I guess that person was confused as to where the west side of the building was, and he hung up on the person. He was talking to someone else in the locker room. He's like, "It's crazy how confused people are if you give them directions." And I'm like, okay, well, I didn't chime in, but I'm thinking like, well, you're saying the west side of the building, but what direction is that person facing it? Like, if you're facing in one direction and you say west, that's going to be a completely different way than if you're facing like the opposite way. I don't know. I just didn't quite agree with like everyone needs to know exactly where things are at.
There is only one north, south, east, and west. So like the west would be the west regardless of which way you're facing.
Is that right?
Yes.
So if I'm facing this way, west.
Like west is always going to be the same. I couldn't tell you where that is, though. It's always going to be
the same, but now if I'm facing this way, my west, if I'm facing this way,
no,
would be that way.
I don't think that's how it works.
Am I making myself look like an idiot right now?
Maybe someone correct us if we're wrong. We clearly don't know.
I don't know. I just didn't quite agree with it. Maybe I'm stupid, but okay. So they told you a direction. I would have been confused, like head east on
he was giving
Eisenhower, whatever street you're on.
Yeah, he was giving me these directions, and my heart was pounding because I was like, "This is gonna be no use for me. I'm just gonna be lost until my phone turns back on." But anyway, so I wrote it down, and then I realized my car has a feature that I've never used in my entire life, which is like a compass. I was able to go north, east, west in the way that he told me, like which streets to go down, and I was able to make it back.
Look at that. I mean, hey, what's crazy is that right before that AT&T shortage happened or outage happened, my parents had just switched from our AT&T service, and we got a new carrier, and so I saw that, like, you know, there was something happening. I'm like, wait, I just switched. I'm good. I just completely forgot that you also had AT&T. So when you told me this story, I'm like, wow, yeah. We have a firsthand experience. And I think it was only a $5 credit for the people.
I think it was.
Yeah, I saw that. Like, they're going to give you a $5 credit for you having to call 911 on the road and trying to give you directions. And
to be fair, that it is my fault. Like, I should be more aware of like what streets I'm taking. But again, like, I've just become so dependent on my GPS. I turn it on for literally everything except like going to... Like, if it's somewhere like work that I know the way, like, obviously I won't turn it on. But if I take a different route, I will still have to turn it on.
Well, I like putting on my GPS even for places where I know how to get to, just in case if like the GPS updates you and it's like, oh, there's like a crash on this route. Maybe you look into taking something different, but I feel like I'm pretty good at knowing how to get to places and not having to. I have to rely on this to get there. I just do it so just in case something does happen, I have my GPS on.
Right. I guess this whole situation, even though it was pretty embarrassing, it did make me really realize like how dependent we are on our phones and how lost I would feel without it. Because even just having like no service or like being able to like contact anybody for, I don't know, maybe it was like 25 minutes or 30 minutes when I was just driving trying to figure out where I was, I felt really like out of like touch with everything.
Yeah, no doubt. I remember when, you know, my parents would take us like on road trip or we had to go somewhere far and they would have to print out the directions.
Really?
And like, here's the stops. Here's like the street you have to turn on. Here's how long you have to take it on. So we'd print them out. And like, that seems like such a crazy different world now from where we're at now, where everything is on like a Google Maps or something like that. But that was once a reality. People had to get out a big map and like map out their route of where they had to go or print them out on Google Maps so that you can get to your final destination, which is, I don't know, it's just crazy how different it is and how much technology has improved since those times. But that was the thing.
Yeah, I didn't like that feeling, honestly, of not being able to like reach anyone or know where I was going. Mm-hmm. But I guess it made me like appreciate it a little bit more.
No,
But
no.
also now I'm just going to be more aware what streets I take.
There you go. I think that will be a good thing for you, because I know you just like to.
I get
when I'm
lost
there,
very
yeah,
easily.
you'll follow me and I won't even question it. But like I said, I'm pretty good with not knowing where to go. Did you have another story that you wanted to tell? If not, because I have mine that will lead into our second topic as well. But
This story just kind of reminded me a little bit of a different situation that happened. This was a while ago, and it's a little bit unrelated, but we were out this weekend. We went to Evanston, right? And we were at a coffee shop, and we overheard one of the girls at the coffee shop go up to the worker and tell her, like, hey, I feel really uncomfortable. There's a guy who's sitting there, and he's just like been staring at us this whole time and just making us feel uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, well, in my head, I was thinking, like, I'm so glad she said something and stood up for herself, because a lot of times, like, as women, we do experience these situations, and even though we're aware, we don't always like speak up or say something. So I was glad she said something about it. But it did remind me of another situation that kind of involved like a cop, and I just felt like it would like tie in together.
yeah,
with
go
all
right
of
ahead.
this.
I think this would be this makes sense.
Okay, so this was maybe last year.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so again, I was heading to this office that I don't normally go to, and on my way there, I was gonna pick up a coffee at like a Starbucks or something, and the Starbucks that was close to this office didn't have a drive-through because it was one of those like small like towny little places, like small streets, so it didn't have a drive-through. So I go in. Well, I was going to go order something. I was going to be like in and out, right? And there was this parking spot that was right in front of the building that said you had to pay to park. But in my head, I knew I was just going to go in and out. Like I wasn't dining in or anything or going to stay there for very long. So I was just like, whatever. So I just parked there really quickly. And I go in. I immediately notice this guy that was facing the window, like the window that I came in through. So he was sitting there just working on something. I saw his backpack, so I thought he was just like working from there. But immediately I noticed that he kind of like looked at me, kept looking at me. And in my head, I thought he was judging me because I parked in this spot and he didn't see me pay. So I thought he was kind of like a male Karen, like judging me, was gonna like say something to me. And that's where my head was at because I was paranoid knowing that I wasn't supposed to be parked there. So again, he just keeps looking at me. I was gonna order and it was just taking a little bit longer than I thought. And then I noticed he would like stand up and just kept walking behind me and just being really weird. And again, like I've experienced someone staring or feeling like uncomfortable before, but this one felt a little bit different because he kept getting close and it was really freaking me out. And so I called you, right? Do you remember what I even said to you?
I mean, I remember you talking about like the situation, right?
I think I was just like, hey, can you stay on the phone with me?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I'm at a
that's right.
Starbucks and I feel uncomfortable. I just want you to like stay on the phone with me.
I do remember that.
Okay, so as this was happening and I order my drink, I'm just waiting for it now. A cop walks in and he's not there for any particular reason. Like he's just there to actually like order something. So I noticed that and it makes me feel a little bit better, but still I kept you on the phone with me and I got my order. And honestly, like, again, I was like, oh man, now this cop is in here. This guy is going to tell on me. He's going to tell the cop that I'm parked here. I don't know why I get so paranoid. Like if I do something wrong, like I get so paranoid.
I don't know. You're also paranoid about returning something.
I get anxiety over like,
little things, but continue.
returns. I'm like,
she bought something. She wants to return it for a different size shoe, and now you're
just.
You need to have like all the items in the package.
I get like return anxiety. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Anyways,
But,
this is besides the point. I get like sweaty even like talking about it. So, again, I'm like, I'm going to get in trouble. He's going to come yell at me and I'm going to be embarrassed. So, I get my drink and I start to head out. And that's when I tell you, oh my gosh, he's following me. He's following me. He's like walking out. And this is like when I'm like by my car at this point. So he starts walking up behind me. And that's when I turn around and I'm like, what? And I like finally like confront him. And I'm like, why have you been like staring at me this entire time? And he's like, what did he say? He was like, oh, you don't look too happy. He said something like that. He's like, oh, you don't look too happy. And I was like, no, like you've been making me feel uncomfortable this whole time. And he was like, I'm so sorry. Like I'm working on a project and I just want to know if I can like photograph you. He's like, you have great style, and starts to like compliment me, but it's so weird. And like in my head, I'm still just trying to wrap my mind around it because I thought he was going to yell at me. And you're hearing the whole thing, right?
Mm-hmm. And I'm not happy.
Yeah, you're not happy.
Put me on speaker. Put me on speaker so I can get this dude away from me.
Yeah, then I have you like yelling at the phone the whole time. And this guy is like, I just want to know like if I can photograph you. I'm working on this book on like culture or something. I forget what it was. But I was like, I don't even remember what I said. I was just like, no. But I do kind of wish I would have told him, like, if this is real and legit, like, don't follow people out to their car.
Don't do what you're doing or how you're doing
like, you could have asked me at any point when we were inside around other people, but, like, following me out to my car.
Yeah, that's such weird behavior.
It was so weird.
Stalker weird behavior.
And then I said no. He kept asking me, he's like, are you sure? Are you sure? Like, it's not going to take very long. And I was like, no. And then he was like, well, if you ever change your mind, like, can I give you like my contact information? Again, I said no. You're still yelling at the phone. And he walks off. So he doesn't even go back into the Starbucks. He just walks off like towards the street. And remember, like, I saw all his stuff that he left in there. So I was like, why didn't he just go back in?
Yeah.
So I found the whole thing really weird. And then I see the cop that was inside the Starbucks also come out. And he's like, hey, I just want to make sure that you're all good. Like, I saw him follow you out and I just wanted to make sure that you were okay. And I thought that was really sweet.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just so happened to like the way it played out and like what was going through my mind, not what I was expecting. But I just found it interesting that you happened to like be listening to the whole thing. And were you nervous or like what did you think was happening? I was more
so like I want to kick this guy's ass more so than anything. Like what Starbucks do I need to go to? You can photograph me just messing you up if you want. But no, that's just super annoying. That weird. And there's a lot of guys like that will, you know, they see a pretty girl and they want to make it upon themselves to, let's go meet this person. Let's do it in the most weird way. Let's kind of, like you said, was getting closer and closer and walk out to your car. It's just such weird, strange, idiotic behavior. And unfortunately, like, as you probably said, there's probably a lot of girls probably go through like instances like this. And be better, guys. Just don't do weird shit. Like, that's such, like, that is never a good way to approach somebody. And to do it the way that he did it, like, come on now. Like, it made me upset that you were going through that.
Yeah.
And then I really wanted to just go there and just punch somebody. So that's why I was yelling at the phone. And I was, oh, God, I wish you would have put me on speaker.
I was nervous to put you on speaker because I didn't want to escalate anything. Like, I'm so anti-confrontation. So not against it. Like, I will do it when I need to, obviously. But I just didn't want to escalate things. Also, I was like, you know, thinking in my head, if this could have been like sex trafficking is very real, right? And that's kind of where my head went afterwards. Because I'm like, let's say someone fell for it. Someone said yes. Okay, I don't think he was going to just say, let me photograph you here. You know,
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, go to the specific place or who knows? I mean.
Yeah, which is terrifying. But luckily for me, like, obviously there was a cop who was watching this whole
good. I mean, that's
thing
awesome
play
that
out.
he did that too. He went out, made sure you felt okay, and you know, just him even noticing it. And like, maybe there's other people that would have just kind of glanced over that situation, and good for him that he did what he did.
Yeah, and I mean, I told him everything that he told me, and he's like, "Yeah, what a weirdo! Like, that's not okay." And I don't know what happened because eventually this guy had to go back
for his stuff,
and I don't know if the cop ever approached him or anything, but yeah, just be aware. It made me want to go and like refill like my pepper spray, which I need to go do.
Sure, yeah.
I have one in my car, but it's old and I know that it loses its like potency. after a few years, and that's been in my car for a long time. So I think I want to get a new one, honestly.
Yeah, I'd feel comfortable with you just having that, just in case something ever happens. Hopefully nothing does, but yeah, I think that would be something good to make sure you always have that, and make sure it's, well, I'm sure even if it's not as potent, it would still not feel great to get that in your eyes or whatever. But
yeah,
I'm glad that, the situation de-escalated, and I wasn't happy. Obviously you felt uncomfortable, so
yeah. Actually, speaking of this, the company that I work for, it's majority women, which I think is awesome, and we always have these like fun work outings, and we were talking about it, and we were all saying that the next one should be a self-defense class.
That's cool. Yeah, that'd be
I'm
awesome.
so down for that.
That would be a really good I don't know, just work event.
Yeah,
especially
nice
like you said,
bonding
most of the people at your work are women, and get some moves in there. That'd be dope.
Yeah,
that'd be dope. Before I tell you my crazy story where I thought I was gonna die, I just want to tell everybody about Owen. As you know, if you watch couples coverage, you listen to couples coverage, you also know that Owen's a big part of what we do here. We actually have, we have a couple of Owen shakes here. We have the Elite Protein Shake that has 32 grams of protein. For me, I really like these pre-made shakes where you can take it on the go. If you're doing a workout afterwards, just open it up, shake it, and you're going to get a really delicious tasting protein shake. This is the No Nut Buttercup, but it has all the ingredients you need. And look, if you're trying to stock up and, get swole here, 210 calories with the 32 grams of protein, that's going to do it. We also have, I like the double shot, which gives you your caffeine, but also has the 20 grams of protein, so you can do that as well. They have powders. They have, obviously, an awesome assortment of flavors, so you really just got to go to liveowen.com. And here's a new thing for you. We have a new code for people who want to save 15% off their first purchase. You have to use the code COUPLEGOALS at checkout. Again, that's couple goals. That will save you 15% off your first purchase. If you do that, a little bit comes back to us to help us here at Couples Coverage, but you stock up, get a bunch of the double shots, the Elite Protein Shakes, and then use that code couple goals to save 15% off your first purchase. All right, we're back. It's Couples Coverage. We're going to continue our embarrassing or crazy stories here, and I get to tell mine.
You get to tell yours.
The thing is, I don't remember exactly all the details to it.
I'll help you.
But what I do remember is that I used to go to a barbershop in the city, in Chicago, when I was going to grad school at DePaul. And even a little bit before that, I would go to this one barbershop because it was known for having a lot of the Bears players going in there. I ended up going in there, writing a story on this, so it was really cool, but I kept continuing going there, despite it being kind of expensive, but they did a really good job with my haircut. And just for anonymity reasons, I won't say exactly the person's name who was cutting my hair. Great guy. But I kept going to the same person over and over again. We established a relationship. We always talked Bears. He gave me a good fade. It was cool.
Well, like, can you just clarify? He would give you some info too, right? Because
he would cut some of the Bears players' hair, and he'd kind of tell me like what they were talking about in their conversation. So yes, he would give me like little tidbits there. Nothing groundbreaking or stuff that really I can honestly say to other people, but he would just give me some of that stuff. So he had my number, I had his number, and I don't remember if I maybe had stopped going or I wasn't going as often because I just wasn't, it just didn't time out perfectly when I was in the city.
I want to say this was around COVID as well,
yeah.
Like lockdown time. So I think you hadn't been going for a while because I don't even think it was.
Yeah, I think that may have been the case. So there was a little bit of a period where I wasn't going to this barbershop. And then I think we were together when I got this first text. Mm-hmm. I got a text message and it was from my barber. And I can't remember exactly what it said, but essentially
it was a threat.
It was a threat. And basically, like he was saying like, I know what you did. Like, I'm going to send out some people or something like that. I know what you did. And I am just like, what? Like, did I tell somebody that I wasn't supposed to tell about some meaningless Bears information, and now I'm going to die for it? Because it sounded, I mean, just the words itself, I'm like, oh my God. Like, what? I'm like scared over here. And I'm like, yo, wait, what are you talking about?
Hold on, can I say something funny real quick?
You can.
Immediately I was like, this is why you shouldn't put your address on certain things. And then he went in there and like removed his address.
I think it may have been on like my resume that I had on my profile website, just because I was still trying to get into journalism jobs. Immediately took that thing off. But yeah, so I did do that.
Your Twitter had your location. I'm like, why do you have your location on Twitter?
That's true. So I did that, but I remember responding like, wait, what happened? What's going on here? And then I think it was like still very similar along the same lines of, I know what you did. You better be, I don't even think he said be careful. Like
he said, I'm going to get someone on you. Like a specific name.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh crap. Whoever it was that he put in there. And then I clarify, I'm like, this is Nick, like the guy that, writes about the Bears, covers, like, and we talk Bears. And then I want to say there was a little bit of a pause before I got the next message. But then, like, my barber was like, oh, wrong Nick. And I'm like, holy crap, dude. Like, you had me going where I felt like I was done. Like, my address was out there. Whoever it is, he's going to come after me. I'm dead, and I don't even know for what reason. And then it was just too funny because I remember I went in the next time I went in, and I booked it with him because I wanted to. Obviously, that was the guy I booked it with. I'm like, dude, you had me, man. Like, do you remember those text messages? He's like, yeah. I'm like, so how's the other guy? And jokingly, and he kind of smiled at me. I don't know. Yeah. But it was hilarious that sometimes, well, not sometimes, but like that whoever this other Nick was, I'm glad I'm not him, because I don't know if he's with us at this point.
We were like, what is this guy involved in? Like, what's going on?
He cuts hair, but what else does he do?
What other side business is he running?
But yes, so that was my funny story. And it kind of leads us into another topic that we want to get into real quick, just about the relationships and the conversations and the trust that we have with our barbers or hairdressers. Because if you're someone that goes to consistently get a haircut, or even not even, it doesn't even have to be consistent, don't you tell them everything? Like, it doesn't matter, like, how long it's been since you've seen, this person. You talk about life. You ask about their kids. You ask about their life. You ask about everything. Everything gets spilled in what is typically, maybe for me, is like a 30 to 40-minute appointment. Get the fade, get the wash. Sometimes you get the beard trim, but constant. And I think that's really cool that we can go to these places, consistently go to the same person, or
it's
even
free therapy.
It is free therapy. You just talk it out, and I think that's what I do kind of enjoy that, because even when I come back from getting my haircut, and I'll shout out Yuritsa from Floyd's Barbershop, like, you always ask me, what did Yuritsa have to say?
Yeah, what's Yuritsa up to?
Yeah, and so like it's fun that you can have those relationships, even though, again, you see these people. It depends. Like, for me, it's probably a little bit more than the normal person. Yeah. Because I like to get my haircut and stay up to date. But we have those relationships. I know you do too with your hairdresser.
Yeah, I do too. And it took me a long time to find someone that I would consistently go to. But ever since I found my lady, and shout out to Esperanza at Beauty Zone. Actually, I don't know if it's still called Beauty Zone, because now she does it out of her own home. Okay. But yeah, I consistently go to her, and I was going a little bit more often when we lived closer. But yeah, I do find it interesting that for some reason you just feel like this comfort, and you always feel like there's like no walls up.
No walls.
And I will say though, I do try to keep in mind like what I share just anyone, because I've been in the salon and I hear the craziest conversation next to me where I'm like, yes, you're having a conversation with your hairdresser, but also everyone can hear you. Mm-hmm. And to me, like, there's a level of like what I'm willing to share, right? Mm-hmm. But regardless, it still gets to a point where you feel like you trust them with everything. And like, I feel like it's like a genuine friendship almost.
Of course it is. And actually your last Christmas gift, it was a collaboration of me talking to Yuritsa about your, what is it, Pauline bag?
Yeah.
So I was like, do you think this is nice? And she's like, yeah, that's really, like, I've never heard of the brand, but it looks super nice. So yeah, that's a definite trust. Like, I'm, want to make sure I get the right gift for you. And, I have that woman's perspective as well to kind of help me with some of the things that I really can't talk about with my guy friends, but,
or with me,
or with you, because of, I don't want to spoil something. But again, that comes with one of the perks of like going to a place, going to someone that you trust. It's not just like, getting the right haircut every single time. It's also the conversation. Because I think it is, I think it's valuable to not only have like conversation, obviously me and you have every single day, but with other people as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like, I think that's such a cool thing. And actually I have my haircut scheduled for Friday. So nice. I know I'll be having a conversation with Yuritsa again.
It's funny, guys. Like, there was one time where we were talking about like one day when we get married, and you mentioned like, oh yeah, Yuritsa's coming to the wedding.
Yeah,
I must have everyone.
I think she gets an invite.
I feel like I know her just because of you. I feel like she's like my friend. And
you've only met her actually once.
Yeah.
The one time, and she actually did go to my high school, and her boyfriend actually played on the same football team as me. So
that has connections.
Yeah, there's connections that go before me consistently going and getting my haircuts at Floyd's Barber Shop. But yeah, it's kind of like a given now.
Yeah. I just think it's funny because I for sure have experienced where I go to a new person, or even when I get my hair colored, it tends to be a different person a lot, because sometimes they're booked for months or like even like half a year in advance, and I need it sooner than that. So like hair coloring tends to be a little bit more like different person every time. And with them, I can't be as open. But when you have that consistent person that you go to a lot, and like you said, they know more about you and your background and maybe your family a little bit, like it does feel so genuine, and it's just nice.
Yeah, it is really nice. And like for me, Yuritsa also cuts my brother's hair as well. So now she will like kind of spill over, man, your brother. It's like some of their
Dan,
conversations.
if you're watching.
Yeah, so it is funny how that all gets connected, and again the connections and conversations that we have.
Maybe it's because like it's not a vulnerable thing, but they are in your personal space, right? Like they're washing your hair, they're close up, they're like
that's a part of it too.
I think it breaks down walls that you would normally have with other people, right?
Yeah, if someone else is touching your hair when you have a conversation, I think there's some issues going on there. Yeah. But yeah, no. So I really do enjoy that, and I know you do too. And I'm sure there's a lot of other people who can relate with that, just like your story that you told. I don't know if many people can relate with getting a text that they're gonna die, but or potentially be in jeopardy there. But yeah, funny stories, and we hope that you enjoyed them here for episode 24 of Couples Club. You know what I completely forgot to do at the top?
Tell people to subscribe.
I did not tell people to subscribe. So if you're listening to the end, you made it all the way to the end. Thank you so much. So now you get to hear us not beg, but ask kindly for you to subscribe to the YouTube channel, to also like that YouTube video, share it with your friends and family members. But then also, if you're more of the audio version type of people, and we appreciate you as well, you can go check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And honestly, anywhere that you listen to your podcast, we're going to be on there. Instagram as well. You can follow us there. TikTok, on the social media. But we really appreciate everyone. And
leave us a comment.
Leave us a comment too. I want to, again, if you have any stories that are relatable to yours or have experienced something like that, we want to hear about them, or if you love your barber and have great conversations, put it in the comments there as well. But that's going to do it. That's going to wrap up Couples Coverage episode 24. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, watching, sharing, subscribing, liking. It makes a difference here. And also, again, that new code. You like Owen? Couple goals to save 15% off your first purchase.
We did not make that code up, by the way. That's sent to us.
Yeah, so stuff happens and sometimes you get new codes. But check it out. Check out this episode and all the previous episodes. Appreciate everyone. But that's going to do it for episode 24. Adios.
Bye.